Hello, everybody. My name is Nguyễn Thế Hóa. I'm in charge of the lecture today. In today's lecture, we learn some aspect of discourse analysis. And now we go into detail. In today's lecture, we learn some grammatical cohesive devices. We have a look at the definition, the feature, and the function. So what are grammatical cohesive devices? They are the linguistic mechanism that create connection between the different parts of a text through the grammatical means. The grammatical cohesive devices may have the sentence clauses relate to one another. They may be used to form the undefined and meaningful whole rather than the collection of isolated statements. To put this another way, grammatical devices or cohesion devices can be the kind of linking word to connect different parts of the text. There are four main kinds of grammatical cohesive devices. And they are reference, substitution, ellipsis, and conjunction. And now we have a look at some of the main features of grammatical cohesive devices. The first matter is that grammatical cohesive devices cannot be understood in isolation. Their meaning depend on the other element in the text. For example, the pronoun he or this require an antecedent to be interpreted. We need a connection with the other part of the text. Second, that is the structural realization. They operate through the grammatical structure. We don't need to pay attention to the choice of the word and the phrases. Though devices are realized through pronouns, auxiliary, determine, conjunction, and clause structures. And next, the economy of expression. We don't need to use many words and phrases, only some of them. Grammatical cohesive cohesion avoid unnecessary repetition, allowing substitution, omission, or predictable element, making discourse more efficient and natural. Another matter is the context sensitivity. We need to pay attention to the context. The context will help us identify the kind of cohesive devices, or so the context may need us, or give us some kind of clues for us to use the grammatically cohesive devices. And then the code text may provide us some kind of connection. It can give us some situation to make the conversation, to make the connection fully understood. Second, systematic classification. We can divide them into the other type with the forms and the rules of use. Now, the first type here, that is the reference. Reference involves the use of linguistic item to refer to something else for their interpretation. We need personal reference, he, she, they, in order to refer to the other words and the phrases within the text. Second, in some cases we need demonstrative reference. This, that, and the, and those. We can use the demonstrative reference to replace words and phrases. And then the next one is a comparative reference. We may use the word the same or different, and then more. Remember, reference track participant, entity in a text, and then ensuring the continuity and avoiding repetition. In some situation, we don't need to repeat words. Now next. The next type is substitution. We can use the word one, once, and the same. We need the word one. This is the type of number, cardinal number. They can be used to express the noun. So we call this is the type of nominal substitution. And we have three kinds of substitution: nominal, verbal, clausal substitution. For the verb, we can use do, da, did. And for the clause, we say so, not. We may say if so or if not, in order to replace the whole clause. So for substitution, we need nominal, we need the verb. It's a verbal substitution, and then we need clausal. And now we may have a look at one example. I need a pen. To have a one, in this case, one refer to a pen. And then next, ellipses. We also have three kinds of ellipses: nominal ellipses, verbal ellipses, and clausal ellipses. Ellipses here means that is the kind of omission. From the second sentence onward, we don't need to repeat the word. So we can throw away the noun. And then we throw away the verb, even a clause. But remember, the meaning of the whole sentence can be the same without changing. What about the function? For the substitution, we have to replace the word. But for ellipses, we can reduce the redundancy, contributing to the fluency and naturalness. Sometimes it is better for us to carry out word ellipses. This will bring about the naturalness in discourse. Now, next. Conjunction. There are also 4 types of conjunction. There is a conjunction can be used to show or to express the logical and the semantic relationship. We have the type here: additive, clause, adversative, and temporal. For additive here, we use the word and moreover. We have to provide some more words of the same concept. And cause, we show the relationship between cause and effect. So we may use the word because and before, therefore. For adversity, we want to show the opposite meaning. For temporal, we want to show the time. And of course, we have some adverb showing time sequence or time period. What about the function? Conjunction or idea and signal how different parts of the text are related logically. Now you have a look at the overall function of the grammatical cohesive devices. Now, the first one is to create textual unity, ensure the coherence, reduce repetition, and facilitate interpretation, and support effective communication. Now, next. Another matter, now we go into detail. Reference is a grammatical cohesive devices have linked different parts of the text. We may use different parts of the text, and we use the type of reference, personal, demonstrative, and comparative to unite part of the text. The most common thing here, personal reference. We use a pronoun to show the relationship between the first and the second sentence, even among some other sentences within a text or throughout a text. When we are reading, we have to track the participant, and the personal reference will help us I identify the type of participant. Maybe mostly we have the relationship between the writer and the reader, and some pronoun here can be useful for us to identify the real relationship. And then we have anaphoric reference and cataphoric to the previous meaning. We use anaphorics. If we want to move to words, we can use a cataphoric reference. The next one, demonstrative reference. We have this, that, here, and there. The demonstrative reference can help us look at something in meaning in relation to speaker or writer. The demonstrative reference signal the proximity of distance, and then they can also highlight the importance of contrast. Now, for example, this typically refers to something that close or newly introduced, and while that refers to to something more distant, previously mentioned. And what about the next, comparative reference? This is the present identity or similarity by comparing one item with another. It is really like true adjective and adverb. We may have such as same, similar, different, more, and better. Instead of pointing directly to a specific entity. The comparative reference links item by showing how they relate to an item of likeness or difference. Although this can be inargumentative and also some academic texts where comparison and evaluation are important. Now, next. The next type we may have either anaphoric reference. The anaphoric reference refer back or point backward to something already mentioned. And cataphoric point forward to something that will be introduced later. And then exaphoric reference shows something happening outside the text. And normally, exaphoric reference need situation. They want to share the knowledge between the writer and the reader. The reference type can be the grammatical cohesive devices creating connection within the text. And now we go into some of the example, and then we go on the analysis. It refers back to Romeo. This can be called the anaphoric personal reference. Here, her refer back to Juliet. And this pronoun avoid repetition of the name and maintain cohesion by linking the second sentence to the first. Now you have a look at the example 2. The students submitted their assignment. They were great. Yeah, immediately. Now they, the word they, refer to student. And this personal reference have maintained continuity of the subject, yeah, acting sentences. And then for demonstrative reference, and you have a look at the example, and this in the example show the entire preceding. The demonstrative reference connects the action to the consequence and emphasizes the importance. In another example, the Capulet, the Capulet and the Montat continue their feud. So you say that conflict led to chastity. In this case, that refers to the feud. This indicates the distance and summarize the previously mentioned idea, strengthening textual cohesion. The next type is the comparative reference, and we may know, Romeo's love intense, but Juliet's devotion even stronger. Now, for analysis, stronger compare Juliet's devotion with Romeo's love. This comparative reference links the two ideas by evaluating their relationship rather than naming them again. Now another one we refer to anaphoric reference. We have to move backward in order to find the right source of information. Now you have a look at the example. Prior divine a plan. It was meant to save Juliet. Now it referred to the plan. So it is good. The connection among sentences. Now another one. This is the one, that shocked everyone. Juliet were alive. In the first clause, this point to Juliet were alive. This is a called cataphoric reference, and it creates suspense, prepare the reader for upcoming information. And the next concept, that is called exophoric reference. We need some situation outside the text. Now another example. That was a terrible mistake, said the teacher. And that referred to something understood from the situation or now explicitly mentioned in the text. Exophoric reference rely on shared context rather than textual cohesion. Another matter of the cohesive device is called substitution. It can be used to replace another one, another phrase or word, in order to avoid repetition to maintain the textual cohesion. Unlike reference, the substitution points to something for interpretation. Substitution actually replaces the word, the phrase, clause within the text. The main type of substitution are normal, verbal, and clausal substitution. Of course, each one will have some their own characteristic feature and function. And now we have a look at the substitution again. It operates the grammatical level and is internationally cohesive, meaning that its interpretation depends entirely on the surrounding text. The substitute item has no meaning on its own. Its meaning is recovered from the preceding linguistic context. Substitution can occur anaphorically, referring back to something already mentioned, and it is common in both spoken and written discourse. And now we move on to the next. The nominal substitution. The nominal we use here to replace a noun we need one once. Sometimes where we don't need one and once, we can use the word the same. And those are form function as a noun standard for the previously mentioned nominal group. Now you have a look at the example. Julia chose a red dress, and Romeo preferred the blue one. Now, blue one, we need the word one to substitute. In this case, we want to refer to a red dress. The substitute maintains a cohesion and avoid redundancy. The meaning of one is recovered only from the earlier noun phrase. Now you have a look at the example. Several bananas were discussed, but only 1 were practical. In this case, ones refer to plan. This nominal link the second clause direct to the first. Now we go on. Now we want to say something more about nominal substitution. The nominal substitution occurs when a noun or phrase is placed by substitute. We have a one, ones, and the same. Now we have a look at the example. I like the shirt and say the red shirt. I buy the blue one. And this is the kind of anaphoric reference. One refer to the red shirt. Now second. And the exercises are earlier than the previous ones. Now, one can substitute for exercise, creating a cohesive link between the two clauses. Now next. And also we have a characteristic feature. We can replace the noun and pronouns. And also we operate within the nominal groups. And now we have a look at the verbal substitution. Verbal substitution involves replacing a verb or verb phrase with the auxiliary verb do, including the forms such as do, da, did, doing, done. For example, she said the work finished the report, and she did. In this case, the verb did substitute for the entire verb phrase. Finish and the report. Now another example. He sings better than he used to do. In this case, do replace the ring sings, and allowing comparison without repeating the lexical verb. Now we need to know some character. So the main characteristic feature. Now first, the cohesive device can replace the noun and verb phrase. And then replace the main so that we use do and the common conversation and written English. Now next, you have a look at the example. Juliet wanted to escape her fate, and so did Romeo. Now for the analysis, the substitute for wanted to escape is affixed. And then the next, clause substitution. You need some of the characteristic feature. Now the first thing that the clause substitution can replace the whole or the entire clause. The most common substitute is so, not. And this style is often used to express agreement. Okay, we have a belief, negation in relation to previous clause. Now another example. Will Romeo survive the exile? I think so. Shall reduce the clause Romeo's with the survive the exile. The substitute allows the speaker to respond without restating the full clause. Now next. And for the clause substitution, we need to pay attention to the different part of speech within the clause. We already arrived on time, I think so. The word so substitute the clause. They will arrive on time. And this type of substitution respond succinctly while maintaining the cohesion with the preceding question. Now another example. Is he coming to the meeting? I hope not. Here, and not substitute the whole structure. We don't need to repeat some kind of phrases, some kind of words. And sometimes we can use the other type of word. I hope, I hope not, I think not. And there are several words for us to identify and put them into use. Sometimes we can use the word like the say so or not. Now next, you have a look at the example. Julia believed Romeo was dead, but sadly this was not. Now we think that not cannot substitute the true or the case. And then you have to think that the clause substitution negate the earlier assumption and also maintaining the cohesion through contrast. The key characteristic features of substitution that is replaces an element of the text, where reference merely point to it. Now next, now we have a look at the characteristic feature of ellipses. Ellipsis is an important grammatical cohesive device, and then it contributes to textual consistent by omitting elements that are recoverable from the linguistic context, allowing the reader or listener to infer, and then context-dependent interpretation. Remember that ellipses always involve the omission of the word or structure whose meaning can be retrieved from the surrounding text. The omitted element must be the structural and semantic recoverable. And then next, sometimes the grammatical nature. Now we have something to bear in mind, avoidance of repetition. Ellipses prevent the unnecessary repetition. And second, and next, tag internal dependence. Unlike substitution, and this type of ellipses can point direct to the early text, reinforcing the cohesion within the discourse. And then next, the type of ellipses and their analysis. According to Halliday and Hassan, ellipses can be classified into nominal, verbal, and clausal ellipses. For nominal ellipses, we think that they can occur within the noun phrase. The head noun is omitted when the modifier remains, and often realized through the determiner, numeral, and adjective. Now, another example. These examples are phrase, and those are not. The noun apple is omitted after those, but can be easily recovered from the previous clause. The ellipses create cohesion by linking the two noun phrases. Now we have some feature. They're gonna go within the verbal group, and also the lexica is omitted, leaving the auxiliary intact, and common in answer and coordinated clauses. And now next, for the clausal ellipses, we might use the two words I think so, I hope so, or I hope not. Now the first one enhances cohesion. Ellipses create a direct link between sentences by requiring the reference to the early one. And then to improve the text economy. It reduces the redundancies and keep discourse concise. And then reflects the natural language use. Especially in spoken discourse, ellipses mirror real communicative behavior. So I have a look at the list. Highlight. By omitting known element, ellipses emphasizes new or contractive information. Conjunction is an important grammatical cohesive device. Connects clauses, sentences, and last stretches discourse by making explicit the logical semantics relationship. In order to signal Now, how long one part of the text is a characteristic feature? Yeah, when they are related to each other. There are totally four main types of conjunction. We have to pay attention to the example here. Yeah, that is called characteristic feature. Now, a logical relationship rather than structural dependency. Conjunction is a breadth relation such as addition, contrast, cause, term. They do not replace the omit element, but links the meaning across clauses sentences. And now the next, study the text-oriented function. Conjunction operate at level of discourse, guiding the reader in interpreting the sequence and logic of ideas rather than sentence grammar alone. Now next, explicit signposting. They make implicit logical connection explicit, helping the reader follow the argument, narration, explanation. There are several types of conjunction here: additive, adversity, causal, and temporal type. For conjunction, the first type we need here. They express the addition, the similarity, reinforcement. The common form and also, moreover, furthermore, in addition, similarly. And those are the common form. The conjunction and the new formation are equal important to the previous clause, creating cohesive link through addition. And now adversity conjunction. We want to show the contrast, the correction or unexpected outcome. Now, for example, he studied hard, however, he did not pass the exam. Or another one, however, mark a contrast between effort and the result, guiding the reader reinterpret the previous clause in light of the new information. And then the next one is the causal conjunction. We want to show the relationship between cause and effect, the reason and the result. And very often we can use the adverb like show, therefore, thus, because, as a result. Now you have a look at the example. The road was flooded, and so the mat were poisoned. In this case, shall indicate that the postponement is a direct consequence of the flooding, creating clear logical connection. And now we have for temporal conjunction, the last one. The temporal expects time. So in this case, we need time sequence or simultaneously. They may be common in narrative and procedure text. The common form showing the time here, then next, finally, meanwhile, before or after. Now we need to look at the function. Now we have to organize this call, clarify the relationship, and support coherence and guide reader interpretation. But the main role of the cohesion conjunction here, that is for the showing the relationship. Now, O by O, we say O in O, grammatical cohesive devices. There are 4 types: reference, substitution, elusive, and conjunction. We may have some benefit. First, improve clarity and understanding. 2, better flow and better coherence. And 3, avoidance of unnecessary repetition. And 4, logical organization of idea. And then enhance readability, stronger academic and formal writing, and then clear reference to people, object, and idea. So, in short, grammatical cohesive device ensure that a text is unified, logical, easy to understand, rather than a collection of isolated sentences. And there are some more with advanced adverse conjunction. We want to use conjunction of this type to express the contrast. And then we link the equal grammatical unit, and then we may highlight the unexpected result. And then the fourth, improve clarity and coherence, and commonly used in both speech and writing on the right. And now, what about the user? We want to the adversative conjunction to show the contrast, and then to present the alternative or correction, and then to express the partial assignment, and then to compare opposing idea. For additive conjunction, it means that we need to add some more information. And the first type, add similar information, and then show continuation of thought, and link equal element. And the fourth, improving the flow and coherence. And the last one, used in both formal and informal writing. Now next, for the additive conjunction, we need some type of uses. We can add one idea to another. And second, to give additional information. And then to emphasize actual point. 4, to list an enumerate point. And then the last one, to support an argument. And next, for the common additive conjunction, for example, and also to further, in more cases, we want to put an emphasis. And then we want to make clear some more point about the content of the text, of the sentences, even in the type of phrase. And we try to avoid repetition. For the temporal, we need them to show the time sequence, to connect the event, to clarify the time, and also to link the clauses, and then to show the common thing in narrative and injection. We need the temporal conjunction. Now next, what about the uses? 1, to show the time order. 2, to indicate simultaneous action. 3, to show beginning or ending of an action. 4. To show immediate sequence. And then to refer to repeated or regular time. And then the next one, we have a causal conjunction. And so there are some features here. 1. Show cause and effect. And the second, explain reason or result. And third, create logical connection. 4. Link dependent and independent clauses. And 5. They are common in explanation or argument. And then the uses of the causal conjunction. First, to give a reason, and second, to show the result or effect. And then the third, to show purpose. And 4, to present logical conclusion. Yeah, that's all for now. Yeah. Thank you for listening and watching.